Good day to you one and all. It is I, Justin Hawkins, and this is Justin Hawkins Rides Again. Today I'm going to be talking about the process and perils of mixing and making music, and what happens when it goes spectacularly wrong and ends in a legal row, as it has done for Poor Ren and Kujo Beats. You'll notice I put Poor before Ren. I didn't put Poor before Kujo Beats. I don't want my interpretation of these events to be considered legally inflammatory in any way, but I do have an opinion about this. It is complicated, but bear with me, I'll explain it all. Justin Hawkins rides again. You'll probably recognise that I'm not in my usual recording surroundings. These are unfamiliar indeed. This is a car that belongs to my friend Gareth. In here we have some stuff that he's asked me not to look through. It looks like an old wallet. It can't be his. It's from the 1800s. A box marked Berline, but I don't know what they sell. I'm not going to look in there just in case. But an old watch as well, which I think came from Gareth's an elderly relative that bequeathed that to him in their last will and testament. Anyway, the reason why I'm not at home is because we're doing a Darkness record today. My brother is recording Frankie playing his bass parts, and I was allowed to go out, and I've just interviewed the Lemon Twigs, which is something that we'll edit and put out for you later. But whilst I'm on the subject of recording, it is a collaborative process, and it can be quite challenging sometimes. You might spend a day or so on an arrangement with a guitar solo that's got lots of different harmonies and double parts and stuff, and then somebody might come in at the end of that process and say, no, I don't like that, I think it should be a fucking harmonica solo. Things like that happen, and it's challenging, but I mean, in that band environment, we are talking about stuff that we're playing with our fingers. But you might find yourself in a situation as a solo artist where you're obliged to sort of build a track using some existing music. A really brilliant recent example actually would be Eminem doing Houdini. That was built on the foundations of a much earlier rock track. It was Steve Miller Band's Abracadabra. I've always had a bit of an issue with that actually, because it's abracadabra. I want to reach out and grab ya. And technically grab ya and dabra, they don't rhyme, they're near rhymes. If you'd have gone, I want to reach out and grabra, then yeah, perfect. Anyway, in this instance, you're going to find it's Eminem has approached the Steve Miller Band and said, would it be all right for me to use this? I want to build an entirely new song around that hook. It will, you'll get some publishing money for doing that, or you probably get some money for the licensing of the master recording as well. If it's an original sample, if it's something that's replayed, it will just be publishing. There's always two streams of income. It's to do with master recordings and the sort of intellectual copyright, or the sort of publishing, or the songwriting, if you like. So if I wrote a riff that went abra, abracadabra, and then I recorded that, the recording itself is the master recording. If Eminem samples that and then raps over the top of the actual recording of me doing that, then he's got to deal with the record label, because that's a master recording that's licensed by them for exploitation. But the song itself and that sort of harmonic information that I came up with in my brain, if I was the Steve Miller Band, that's another matter altogether, and it's a second argument really. No worries, it's my bad for recording in a car. Could you sign a release form for us, actually?
Sorry?
To have your face in it. Would you like to have your face in this?
I maybe take a baby, but you're recording something now already.
Oh, is there a baby? We won't put the baby on camera, I don't think.
So fine, it's okay.
Yeah, just let me know when the baby's coming and I'll...
Okay, sorry.
Don't worry. There might be a baby. So yeah, in some instances when you're building a track, you might not need any of that stuff. You might just play all the instruments yourself. You might come up with an original... insofar as originality is possible, you might come up with an original piece of music that you do your rapping on. Or, as is the case for Ren on the brilliant track Sick Boi, there was a sample that he bought from a company that does licensable music, on the understanding that everything contained in that sample that he would use to build his track from was cleared. Yeah, we can't play the track because it's been pulled from all of the streaming platforms, as Ren announced last week on YouTube.
A lot of you will have been asking me the question why Sick Boi has disappeared now, as well as YouTube on streaming services. It's a video that was very close to me. It's a video that told my story about my health. It's a video that told the story of many other people who have been gaslit by the medical community. It's a story of greed in the music industry, ironically, funnily enough. It's also a song that I poured tens of thousands of pounds into for a music video, for promotion. It was also the leading title of the only #1 album that I've got, so I was very, very proud of it. And we'll no longer have that song, guys. And I want to go into the reasons why.
Now, Ren goes on to explain how he bought a beat from BeatStars.
For anyone who doesn't know, BeatStars is a platform that connects producers to artists who need beats. I do produce most of my own work, but I wanted to find some hip-hop beats for inspiration. What I would usually do is buy a beat, arrange it slightly differently, tweak it myself, add my own vocals, add my own layers and stuff like that. I find this banging beat, right, from a producer called Kujo Beats, which I buy an unlimited license for. This is all very important to keep in mind for later on, right?
To cut a long story short, it later emerged that part of the sample might belong to a third party, which is a Bulgarian choir. Ren says he bought the sample in good faith, and Kujo Beats claims he didn't receive the pay or the credit that he was due, so a copyright strike against the song loomed.
Rather than like bend to this leverage and just, out of principle, I'm just going to take the song off. I also send a mass email out to everybody, the publisher, Kujo, the lawyers involved, just saying how disappointed I am across the board, even from people on my side. I was just disappointed. Regardless of earnings, fuck earnings for a second. That song I was proud of. What it meant to people, I was proud of. The messages that I get from people every day, telling me like how much they relate to the song, how much it helps them through difficult times, you know, like that's gone now, that's taken away from people. So yeah, I'm pissed off.
Immediately at this point, I mean, I watched that video. I watched the whole Ren going into a tirade about what it means to him and how this has affected him. I mean, it's clearly affected him emotionally. So it actually comes back to Kujo Beats, the person that created it in the first place. Now he's taken something, he's from something else. And it's not just algorithms and you know, computer analysis that shows you when something like that is present. I mean, they can analyze the waveform and tell you from their extensive database whether or not it already exists or whether it's a master recording from something else. That's often how, you know, your royalties are collected in the first place. But these Bulgarian folk have gone, hang on a second, that's our recording, we need something back from this. And this is a really, really successful record. They haven't got an agreement in place with Ren. BeatStar have licensed it, and now it's coming back to Ren. For me, I don't think I shouldn't have been necessary for Ren to take that song down. It really shouldn't. This isn't on him. There are examples in the music trade throughout history of people using unlicensed samples. And what happens is, like, there's one sort of, I can only say this anecdotally, but there's somebody who is thought to have sampled a Stevie Wonder record without, you know, getting any sort of prior clearance or permission, released the thing, and then Stevie Wonder's people correctly said, hang on a second, you didn't license this, therefore you are obliged to pay more than 100% of the earnings. So then the person who used that Stevie Wonder clip must have been praying that their song wasn't a hit, because it would have been really expensive for them, you know, and it's fair enough, because that's just theft at that point. But Ren didn't do anything wrong. I'm still not seeing any reason for him to roll over and change his arrangement. Or this is entirely ridiculous that somebody's career is stalling, and Ren has come up with his own interim solution to dealing with the crisis. He's written a song about it.
I'm releasing a song about this whole situation, and it's dedicated to Kujo. It's called Kujo Beat Down. I made a beat. By the way, the beat has no unlicensed samples in it. I made the whole thing myself. I wrote all the lyrics myself, all the beats are mine. I'll also be recreating Sick Boi because those lyrics and that arrangement is mine. I felt like I needed to get it out somehow, and so I got it out somehow.
I wonder if it's ever wise to enter into some sort of debate of this nature with an artist like Ren, because if you just look at the way he approaches his art and his poetry and his music and his videos and stuff, you can see the catharsis in what he's doing, and poking him in that way, you're going to get a song made about you. And I do wonder you know, there's potentially like the Kujo Beats fella. Maybe there's, maybe he just wants the attention, you know. And I mean this with the greatest respect of all. If your main sort of raison d'etre within the music community is to provide free beats, I mean, those are just the building blocks of the real creativity, which starts with people like Ren. And I would say that almost literally anybody can sample a Bulgarian choir and make a beat out of it. This isn't on Ren. It really isn't. Ren, don't roll over. And Kujo needs to go and apologise to some Bulgarian people who are in a choir. There's probably quite a few of them, so I'd go with an entire entourage, because Bulgarians, even the choir singers, they're tough cookies. Anyway, this is a quote from Ren. I appreciate the support, but I don't want anyone going over to him and threatening the guy. I wasn't threatening, I was just saying the Bulgarians might have something to say about it. You don't want to cross those guys.
But I don't actually advocate anyone like giving them an abuse or anything like that, because I am dealing with it, all right? Peace, that's all I'm saying.
So where is this going to end? Ownership issues aside, it comes back to the music, and we are getting more music from the dispute. Sick Boi will be remade, and there's the new track Kujo Beat Down, so maybe that's one positive to come out of all this, that it's been a catalyst for, maybe not conciliation, but at least creativity.
Doing right, who was right there on the righteous path, no wrong in words I write, but the forces out there test me right, I'm trying to find the path and forgive all those who test
I will do a full analysis of this later and talk about how brilliant Ren is, but I think this episode needed to be centered around the reasons, the origin story of that song in the first place. There's a link in the description of this video to Ren's new release, Kujo Beat Down. I urge you to go and look at it, get the numbers up. Let's try and help Ren get back on track, because it's so fucking annoying that something's come in and stalled it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, do all that stuff. Feel free to comment, keep it legal, non-defamatory, and I'll sing you the theme tune from the comfort of Gareth's car, which, judging by the contents of this glove compartment, he might actually be living in. Justin Hawkins rides again. If I point with two fingers, you know I mean it. See you on the ice, guys. And yeah, make your own music. Don't sample other people's stuff. You never know if it's really theirs. Don't worry about it. Oh, that's my glasses.
Again.